Late nights and lipstick on the collar are hardly the first signs of cheating. She is unable to explain. Words, little remarks, are the first step. She enters the conversation in the hopes that it will hide her identity, but more often than not, it reveals her shame. Most men miss it, which is the scary thing. When they hear these words, they place the blame on themselves. Persuaded that they are insecure or paranoid, they gasp into quiet. However, a woman's heart is always betrayed by her words. Additionally, she will say specific things without even realizing it when she is unfaithful, expressions that serve as warning signs that are clearly visible. I'm going to reveal those statements today because once you hear them for what they truly are, you won't ever again disregard your intuition. "Why don't you trust me?" is the first thing she asks. It seems benign and even reasonable at first. A woman saying, "Why don't you trust me?" with wide eyes and perhaps a hint of hurt in her voice. The majority of males instantly back down when they hear this. They experience guilt. They doubt themselves. Perhaps I'm being overly suspicious, they think. Perhaps I'm the issue. Here's the grim reality, though. "Why don't you trust me?" a woman asks. Frequently, it's because she already understands she isn't deserving of your confidence. Her conscience is oozing from her mouth, causing her to fumble with words. This projection of guilt onto the other person is referred to by psychologists as a defensive mechanism. She portrays you as the anxious, insecure, and irrational person rather than facing her own betrayal. In this manner, she deflects criticism away from her own behavior and forces you to defend yourself. And she wins if you are caught in that trap. Consider the timing. Since she is aware that her actions demonstrate her honesty, a faithful woman seldom poses this query. Her words and deeds are consistent. She is steady, transparent, and open. However, as an unfaithful woman, she has the stress of leading two separate lives. She is aware that the chats on her phone are hidden from you. She is aware that her abrupt late nights, evasive justifications, and emotional detachment raise suspicions. She flips the script before you can even confront her. "Why don't you have faith in me?" It's a shield, not a question, and you give her the power the instant you hurry to reassure her. Imagine the situation. You pose a straightforward query, perhaps a simple question like, "Who were you with last night?" She sharpens her tone and then slams you with it, rather than responding immediately. "Why don't you have faith in me?" Take note of what transpired. Your inquiry vanished. Her actions are no longer the main emphasis. It is on your alleged insecurities. It's not a coincidence. Even if she doesn't intentionally intend it, that is a method. This is where most males fall short, though. They scurry as soon as they hear those words. "I trust you, of course, sweetie." Or even worse, "You're correct. I shouldn't have any doubts." That last-ditch guarantee may ease the situation, but it merely gives her more confidence to lie since she has discovered that her words have the power to manipulate you. The Stoic method is distinct. A man who is Stoic resists being influenced by feelings. He understands the meaning of the phrase, a warning sign. He watches rather than protecting himself. He chooses to be silent rather than argue, as silence always exposes more than argument ever could. She becomes alarmed in that quiet. The old technique didn't work, she realizes. The flaws in her story start to emerge at that point. In actuality, a faithful lady doesn't have to ask for trust. She deserves it for her actions. Only those who are guilty demand it. Additionally, she unknowingly asks, "Why don't you trust me?" She's revealing herself. Therefore, don't write such remarks off as drama the next time you hear them. Don't let guilt consume you. Take them as they are, a query that is actually a confession, because an unfaithful woman's infidelity always comes through in her speech. "Second, you're exaggerating," she replies. When a lady is faithful, she calmly and clearly addresses your problems. She clarifies, comforts, and gives you a sense of security. However, if she is concealing something, she immediately responds with a dismissive statement when you bring up her actions. You're going overboard. She seems to be easing the strain at first, then take a closer look. This isn't cozy, it's deflection. She isn't dealing with the problem. She is downplaying your intuition. That's the telltale sign. This is referred to as gaslighting by psychologists. An unfaithful woman utilizes your overreaction to shift the focus from her behavior to your alleged paranoia when she manipulates you into questioning your own vision. She gives herself more time to hide if she can get you to doubt your intuition. Imagine it. You see that she is suddenly grinning at texts she won't share on her phone at night. When you inquire about it, you receive an overreaction rather than an honest response. It isn't anything. The dagger lies in the term nothing, because she would show you if it really were nothing. She doesn't, which implies that something is wrong. This is where most men cave. They wish to avoid coming out as insecure. Thus, they retreat. They're sorry, and she triumphs in that instant. She discovers that you will remain silent if she simply accuses you of overreacting. This is the reason this phrase is so harmful. The Stoic reaction is to neither argue nor back down. Because silence makes her feel the weight of her own defense, you remain silent, watch, and let her words linger. Her anxiety increases the less you respond, and the fissures are constantly exposed by nervousness. Keep in mind that a devoted woman will allay your fears. A disloyal woman will also make fun of them. Additionally, she is revealing her remorse each time she informs you that you are overreacting without recognizing it. At 3, she declares, I simply require some room. When women are almost halfway out the door, they utilize this term. She leans in when she is faithful. She desires greater intimacy, connection, and proximity. However, she distances herself when she is disloyal or intends to be. In order to defend that gap, she says, I just need some space. People certainly require breathing room in a good relationship. Here's the distinction, though. She will remain emotionally present when it's sincere. She will give a detailed explanation. You will be involved in the process. The word space turns into a cover for concealment when it's not sincere. It has nothing to do with self-care. It's about giving someone else space. Consider the timing. When things are stable, women typically don't ask for space. When their sense of guilt increases, they ask for it. Distance calms their conscience, which is why they desire it. The betrayal seems more pronounced if she cheats when she is still loyal to you. However, she promises herself that if she makes room first. Already the connection was deteriorating. She feels less guilty because of that falsehood. This is referred to by psychologists as cognitive dissonance reduction, the psychological ploy of changing the narrative to excuse inappropriate behavior. I'm not betraying him, in her opinion. She says to herself, I needed room. We had already started to drift. Actually, it's not cheating. The majority of males fail to see this for what it is. They believe she simply needs more time after hearing the words. She'll get it from me. However, since the space isn't for her recovery, giving her space at this phase doesn't make things better. Rather, it speeds them up. It is for her treachery. This is obvious to the Stoic man. When she requests space, he doesn't freak out or plead. He watches, disengages, and readies himself for reality. Because it is not a request to beg for space. It's an admission. I just need some space, a woman says. She is unaware that she is exposing herself. She is, however, because no woman in love desires to be apart from the man she wants. Only the disloyal do. For it's not what it appears to be, she says. This phrase is so notorious for a reason. It's a person caught in the act's automatic response. The adulterous woman's brain is racing to keep her secret safe, so she says it almost automatically and without thinking. Consider it. She would gently explain, provide facts, reassure, and perhaps even provide evidence if anything wasn't what it seemed. But when she blurts it out, it's not what it seems. She is displaying signs of panic. The telltale sign is that panic. This is referred to as a reflexive denial response by psychologists. It's an effort by the mind to put some distance between exposure and guilt. Here's the irony, though. She affirms that there is something to gaze at by expressing that. This is the harsh truth. The likelihood is that it is precisely what it appears to be if you ever hear her say it isn't. She also understands in her heart that she should just keep to herself. 5. You're simply acting insecurely, she replies. When a lady is faithful, she honestly allays your worries. She speaks straight to them. However, she doesn't want to face your skepticism when she cheats. She attacks you then. You hear the statement, "You're just being insecure" at that point. It seems insulting at first. However, projection is what it truly is. It is she who bears the guilt. It is she who is hiding, and she turns it on you rather than face it. Now, her secrecy isn't the issue. It's your lack of confidence. Astute, yet illuminating. This strategy is a kind of gaslighting since it implies that your intuition is weak. She is attempting to undermine your confidence since it would be simpler for her to continue lying if you feel weaker. And the majority of men fell for it. They doubt themselves, give in, and even say they're sorry. Here's the reality, though. Suspicion does not automatically equate to insecurity. It's instinctual at times. What your brain tries to ignore is picked up by your gut. The emotional distance, the phone secret, and the delayed responses are all indicators. Additionally, she is attempting to silence the alarm that is blaring in your chest when she calls you insecure. If you're prepared to hear the realities that women hope you'll never discover, click the subscribe button immediately. If you've ever heard one of these words and experienced an instinctive mistrust, leave the word truth in the comments section.